I call this October UAC meeting to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. No comment from the public. Would any commissioner like to remove an item from the consent agenda? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Motion Waldman, second Learned. All in favor?
Aye.
Consent agenda is approved. New business item number 1. Don?
Good evening. The first new business item deals with Kill Creek water recovery facility. We have a lift station, which is, we call it the North Lift Station, located at 16555 Garner Road. It was installed in 2007. And utilizes 2 dry pumps and 2 wet pumps. The wet pumps are used in wet weather when we get heavy rains to pump the water into a holding tank to prevent the lift station from backup. The wet weather pumps are manufactured by Flight, and JCI Industries are their sole representative in Kansas. The pump failed in service July 13th, 2016, and it was indicated by a seal failure alarm on the control screen. The pump was sent to JCI for evaluation. They determined that a large tear on the cabling allowed water to flow downward into the stator cavity, damaging the stator. They recommended to go ahead and rewind the stator and replace the cabling for a total of $29,218. We received a proposal offer for a brand new pump, and the price of a new Flight pump is $34,680. And since the gap between the repair and buying a new pump is about 20% difference, staff recommends purchasing a new pump that will allow not only getting a brand new motor stator, but a complete pump assembly, and ensuring the pump availability and continuous service. We also received a quote from FTC Equipment. They sell saucer pumps, and the price for a pump similar to the Flight was $38,732. So based on the 2 quotes, and the staff recommends to the City Council to award a supply contract to JCI for a new Flight pump, 100 horsepower, for $34,680.
Questions, comments?
No, I read everything that was emailed me, so I'm pretty well up informed. That was pretty good.
And there's a nice picture of the pump, so you have a good reference of what we're trying to replace.
Normally, keeping the cost low is ideal, but a 9-year-old pump that's already had 1 failure, it seems like $5,000 is money well spent, if you even want to call it an insurance policy, for replacing it and going forward. So,
Is
there any salvage value to the pump?
There probably might be, but we haven't explored that avenue.
When you get $5,000?
Well, yeah. That'd be even better. I entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve recommendation to city council to award a supply contract to JCI Industries in the amount of $34,680 for a new flight 100 horsepower wet pump.
Second.
Motion Waldman, second Learned. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Yep.
Motion carries. Unanimous. Item number 2.
Second item is related to the high service water pumps at the Hillsdale Water Treatment Plant. The high service water pumps consist of two 150 horsepower vertical pumps installed in 1998, and one 200 horsepower installed in 2006. All three pumps are located at Hillsdale Water Treatment Plant. In the 2015 water utility assessment, the two original pumps were identified that they've been in service for 20 years, and a rebuild is required to ensure continuous water supply from the water treatment plant to the City of Fort storage tanks. Staff received a proposal from DXP Super Center. They're the single source distributor for Fairbanks, Morse in Kansas. We evaluated the proposal, and we decided that we should rebuild the pumps. The other option was to buy new pumps, but we think that just by rebuilding the pump, we should be able to get a good use of the pumps. So, staff recommendation is for you to approve a recommendation to the City Council to award a contract to DXP Super Centers in the amount of $35,198, including freight removal and installation to rebuild the two high service water pumps. That's part of the project W1603.
Questions, comments?
What's the price of a new pump? And compared to what we did before?
I knew that was coming.
Now, and I can give you some background on why we got a good price on the flight pump. It was a West Tech in New Orleans 2 weeks ago, and I attended, and Scott Milholland attended. So when we went to JCI, we told them that we were considering looking at different manufacturers for a pump. So they went ahead and sent us a quote with $34,000. The original price was close to $58,000. So to make the story short here, the new pump is close to $88,000 a piece. So it makes sense to rebuild it because the price is rebuilding is 50% of the actual price of the new pump. So we explored that option, but it didn't make sense.
Good luck.
Fair enough.
More questions?
Any other questions? Entertain a motion?
Make a motion to approve a recommendation to City Council to award a service contract to DXP Super Center in the amount of $85,198 to rebuild two high service water pumps as part of the High Service Water Pump Project, CIP project number W81603.
Second.
Motion Learned, second Waldman. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Business item number 3.
Number 3, Bruce is going to present that item.
Good evening.
Even.
Well, we're going to, you all aware of the truck lease that we have. So we're going to approve a recommendation to City Council to execute an agreement between the city and Alltech Capital Service to replace 2 of the specialty vehicles in the lease program. At the present time, the City of Gardner leases 6 specialty vehicles from Alltech Capital Services. including one transmission digger truck, that's the bigger one, and one distribution digger truck, 2 large aerial lift trucks, and 2 small aerial lift trucks. The digger trucks and the large aerial trucks are on 5-year leases, and the small aerial lift trucks are on 4-year leases. The transmission digger truck and the one large aerial truck, their 5-year leases expired in August of 16. Since the lead time to construct these types of specialty vehicles is 270 to 300 days from the date of order, the city has to make a timely decision selecting the 5-year lease program, which includes the preventative maintenance for the 2 vehicles. The city requests proposal for vehicle lease programs and are summarized below. The transmission digger derrick truck from Altech per month is $4,221. Joplin Freightliner $4,680, and Terex $5,143.88. In the large aerial lift truck, that's the bucket truck, Capital $3,330. CTE's custom truck, theirs was $4,500. Joplin Freightliner's $3,750. After reviewing the proposals, Altech Capital has the best lease program based on price and service. The current lease agreement with Altech Capital has been very successful, and the electric division has benefited significantly from the program. Over the last 6 years, we have leveled out the annual vehicle expenditures and eliminated any and all repair costs. The only expense incurred have been for wear items, tires, windshields, fuel, etc. Staff recommendation is to approve a recommendation to the City Council to execute an agreement with Altech Capital to replace one transmission digger truck in the lease program for 5 additional years at a monthly lease rate of $4,221 per month, which equals $50,652 per year, excluding taxes, licensing fees, and delivery charge. And one large aerial lift truck for 5 additional years at a monthly lease rate not to exceed $3,330 per month, which comes up to $39,960 per year, excluding taxes, license fees, and delivery charges.
Comment?
In addition, I did quite a bit of homework, so I saved a motion for this baby. And I think everything makes sense, but I do have some questions, none on Altech, no.
Okay.
That's what we can use it, but just curiosity questions. Joplin Freightliner, I was amazed by that. What were they gonna use for beds, for digger beds, what brand?
Altech.
Huh?
Altech. Yeah, the deal with the digger derrick, the Model 3060, only 2 people make them.
Okay.
That's Terex and Altech, that's
Right.
it.
That's why
So if I was gonna compare apples to apples, and they
Right.
wanted 3, I had to find somebody that could build me a truck,
Right.
the third one. So that's how that ended up.
It said it on there, I just didn't really catch it.
Yeah.
But I'm familiar with Terex and Altech,
Okay.
and we've had good luck with Altech. Altech seems to be
They're super. I mean,
they're
service
pretty
and
popular among a lot of utilities now.
yeah.
Well, and doesn't the aerial truck have the dielectric testing as well?
Yep.
Yes. And that's
covered
part of
as
their
well, so
their
that's something
PM.
that'd be a benefit to us.
It's free. Yeah. It's all included.
I'm happy with what we've done.
I am too. I'm real happy with what we done. Yeah, 'cause you pretty much was here when
Yep.
it started, you know.
Yep.
One question I have is, the amounts that we have here, should we, how is the taxes, licensing fees, and delivery charge gonna be handled since we're approving excluding those amounts? Is that just gonna be handled under bonds of spending authority, and we don't need to approve anything for that?
No, city council has to do that.
Well, I just mean, if we approve this and then the bill is $500 more,
Right.
and, okay, that's gonna be a total bill, I assume, not a separate itemized bill, so do we need to give you authority for the rest of that, so that when you recommend it to the city council, they know that, we're on board with that?
I think that, that will, make the process a little easier, because if we go only by the least amount, then I will have to come back and request additional.
So I'll make the motion to adapt to that.
Okay, anybody have a motion?
I make a motion to make a recommendation to the city council to execute an agreement with Alltech Capital to replace one digger derrick truck and as well as the aerial lift truck, per quotes given to us. Necessary extended taxes, license fees, and charges to finalize delivery of the vehicle.
Second.
Motion Boyd, second Wellman. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Bruce, out of curiosity, do we have any others coming up that their lease, is next year?
No, not next year, no. No.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Evening, Michael Kramer, utility manager, and item number 4 is to replace the soft starts at the raw water pump facility with variable frequency drives. Our existing soft starts have generally been in there since 2005. At that time, and really, over the last 20 years, but really the last 10, variable frequency drives, they've gotten better, their prices continue to drop, the units keep getting smaller, and our soft starts, are at the age where they really need replaced. And what the soft start does is it starts the motor and helps keep the inrush currents down and controlled. The VFD lets you do that, but it lets you do a lot of other things too, that from an operational standpoint can save wear and tear, that can allow allow the plant to run at a steadier rate, and they can in this case help save some electrical costs. Now we haven't calculated that savings, but right now, in order to control the plant, when you turn on the raw water pumps, there's a valve outside the plant, and that valve is partially shut. And so you're running that pump full speed whether you need it or not. And then you're controlling the flow into the plant with the valve. And so you may be running at full speed and only need 80% of that speed to get the flow to the plant. So we do anticipate some electrical savings. And the other thing that it lets you do is when you start the pump, you can start it slower, and so you can kind of ramp it up to the speed you want to run at. And the same thing when you turn it off, so you don't get that water hammer of boom, here's your flow, and especially when you turn it off, it's just gone, and the water pressure fluctuates in there. And so we went out, we received several quotes. We had folks come out and look at our existing soft start cabinets and look at the motors that we have and make recommendations to us on which VFD they had available and then their cost. And so looking at the costs, they ranged anywhere from $25,000 to $37,000 on the quotes for the equipment, and then that doesn't include the installation, it's just the equipment. And we believe that based on the quotes, based on the literature, based on talking with folks in the industry, our operators, our wastewater operators, that the ABB drives are the way to go for this project. And so we're recommending to award a supply contract to Logic for $24,731, for the supply of the VFD drives.
Are we planning on doing our own installation?
The installation, we do plan on contracting with someone. Logic is the supplier for ABB drives, so that's why they don't have an installation quote. So we go out and get our own installer. We use Clayco a lot for our electrical down at the water plant, and we've used Capital Electric a lot for things both in water and wastewater. I have talked with Capital Electric if we don't use their VFDs, would they be willing to come do the install, and they said yes, and I believe Clayco would be the same, and since that cost, it looks like that cost will probably be underneath Gonza's spending authority, and so we'll be able to handle that meaningfully.
Any comments?
Yeah, question I had.
Deal with the fees and taxes, delivery and taxes? Make a motion to that effect.
I make a motion to approve recommendation of City Council order supply contract with Logic Incorporated in the amount of $24,731 for their proposal, plus necessary taxes and delivery for those VFDs and associated equipment, and for the utility to go ahead and negotiate a contract, which is under God's authority to install it.
Second?
Motion Boyd, second Learned. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Discussion items.
Okay. You ready?
Yep.
All right, we're going to review the 2016 third quarter electric outage report. In the third quarter of 2016, electric staff responded to 12 outages. 10 after-hours outages, 4 caused by equipment failures, burned out fuses, bad transformers, tripped circuits, 5 caused by animal, usually a squirrel, 1 caused by other truck pulled down a line. And there was 2 during working days, 1 caused by an equipment failure, it was a bad transformer, and 1 caused by an animal, which is a squirrel. The average response time was 17 minutes, and the average length of outage was 1 hour and 5 minutes.
Feel pretty good that the average for after hours is 2 minutes from what it is during the workday. That's pretty spectacular.
Yeah, and that's pretty good for 10 of them being after hours, because it takes you a while to get here. You got to get to the truck, then you got to get out and find the fault. So, yeah, actually it was pretty good.
The questions and concerns I have is the equipment failures. Looking at your more detailed outage report, 21, 22 circuit trips. Well, any more details on that? Trips on the transformer? What?
That they're still working on that.
Okay.
Yeah, Gons can probably give you a little bit more information what's going on down at Generation than I can, but I know it's not up and running yet.
It was June.
Yeah, I got it right here.
June 17th.
I showed
It was July 14th. Yeah, it happened at 3:10 p.m.
What happened, there's a lot of work that was done at the sub one, including the transformer T1 replacement, the 161 kV breaker replacement, the disconnect replacement. So on that day, we went ahead and the transformer was energized 2 days before. So on that day, we transferred the load from the sub 2 to sub 1 T2 transformer. After basically 3 hours of being in service, the transformer tripped on the equipment. We went ahead and took an oil sample, and the oil sample showed no gases in the oil, so that's apparently not a problem. Then we went ahead and checked all the wires on the transformer, especially the CT is going to the differential relay to make sure the wiring was correct. We even pulled new wires to take to avoid any future problems, because that transformer had a history of fire and stuff. So we said, let's eliminate the cables, Then we went ahead and checked the programming on the differential, and everything looked fine. Then we went ahead and injected current from the transformer CTs all the way to the relay, and everything was fine. So right now T2 is being was energized. We're trying to warm up the transformer. So hopefully we'll restore the load service in that transformer by Friday, if not by Monday. But there's a history with that transformer after the fire that it trips.
It's not a good feeling.
We've tried, we've taken several oil samples, they don't indicate any problem inside the transformer. So if everything else fails, if we have another trip, the next action to take is to drain the transformer and do a internal.
Okay. And then maybe A&B say fuses blown on circuit 243, cut out and terminator burned up. Is there a reason why that would burn up? Loose connections, or?
We think it was a loose connection,
Okay.
and it is the farmer circuit, which will be deleted here in a couple months. So it's part of that old rackety.
Okay.
That's where it was found.
That's all the questions I have.
Do we have was the line low that the dump truck caught? How did or did it hit a pole, or what happened there?
That one might have been, was that the one over there at, Daly?
Yeah.
Yeah, Daly is a service line. It wasn't primary overhead line, it was a service line that was low. They had to suck it up. Hit it, so.
That makes sense.
All right. I'm gonna give you an update on our line maintenance division. Again, the line maintenance takes care of the water and wastewater system that's out in the field, so the wastewater collection and then the water distribution. And so with that, with the wastewater, and there's a sewer cleaning map that is part of your packet. It's not part of the electronic presentation there, but if you pull out the sewer cleaning map, this is essentially the similar map to what we looked at back in June, and the kind of purpley color are the sewer lines that were cleaned up to that point, and we had done about 7% of the lines in the city. Again, we're trying to clean on a regular routine basis 20 to 25% a year. Since that time, we've cleaned those lines in yellow, and we're up about close to 17 or 18%, and for just routine and what we call our annual maintenance. And so those are the lines we're trying to get through once every 4 to 5 years. And so, and then the red lines Again, those are sewers that we clean every single month. And we're still in the process of evaluating those, seeing if we can take some of those off. We had begun a process of TVing those lines, and our camera was actually damaged during one of the runs. And so it's been in for repair since, I believe, June, and we got it back here last week or so. So hopefully we'll get back on those. The red dots there and the ones up on Sycamore, there's actually two right together on Sycamore. The big red dots on the sewer map are where we had sewer mains that were actually plugged with debris. And in general, what that means is, you've got grease, rags, that type of thing. And when we go out to clear those, we try and capture and see, okay, what was, causing the clog. And some of them were caused by, like, they call them flushable, disposable wipes, but they really shouldn't be put down the sewer. Just because something says flushable doesn't mean it's a good practice to put it down there. It's better to go to the landfill. So anyway, we've had actually 6 backups, and there's one that's not shown on the map just south of 162nd Street on Kill Creek Road. And the one on Kill Creek Road, though, didn't actually affect any homes, so it didn't back up into any basements or anything like that. Unfortunately, these others did have some backups into homes. Some of those caused some pretty major claims, and some there, really wasn't any. But, the important thing from my standpoint is, when there is a backup, what's our response? And, in general on these, our guys have been there, and these have all occurred either during the day or during the day on the weekend. There was the one down on at the intersection of Hickory and Kansas, just off of Center Street, south of the tracks there. That occurred, I believe, on the weekend, and still the response times, someone was on site within about 20 minutes. And generally these backups are cleared. We're seeing them actually, clean the lines within, I'd say, about an hour of actually getting the call. And then they're usually out there about 2 hours to watch and make sure that it's still free-flowing. When we do have a backup occur, we then follow up, within the next week or so, just to make sure everything's still, flowing freely. A little bit about the backups and the city's responsibility to the homeowner. Under Kansas statutes and laws, if there's a sewer backup from the city main, the city, as long as we're not negligent, then we're not liable for any damages to their home. And so, what we have to do on each one of these backups is we show them all of our, and when I say them, we provide our insurance carrier with all of our records for this is the maintenance that's occurred there, this is issues and problems we've had in the past, and then the specifics about that sewer backup that we had. So who took the call when it came in, who called, how quickly did we respond, what was our response, what did we find the blockage was, And so we send all this information, and we work with Shannon Templeton, our risk coordinator, to get all this information to our insurance representative, and then they make the determination whether or not we're negligent based on all the information that we provide them. And then with all of the backups that have occurred this year, they've not found any negligence. And so from our standpoint, that's, you know, a really good thing. So.
Out of curiosity, the one that, there's the 2 spots,
Yes.
how soon
Well,
after one another did they
actually, they were about 2 months apart, but the lines are in the backyards, and even though the 2 spots are both on Sycamore, they're actually on 2 separate sewer systems.
Oh, okay.
You know, because it's behind the homes. And, you know, those are kind of frustrating to me on Sycamore because they're in newer PVC lines in areas and places that, and they were cleaned recently, and I believe those were 2013 or 2014 even, that those were cleaned, and, you know, they were plugged with, I'm not sure about the one on the west side, but the one on the east side was plugged with grease and rags. And guys, it's unbelievable what you'll find in sewer systems. I do not know how it gets in there. I mean, there was one today that I found that our cleaners found that I know how it got in there, but you know, so much stuff. I mean, you find 2x4s in pump stations and in sewer lines and all kinds of bed sheets. I mean, yeah, I don't know, but anyway, and so that's part of the reason why, since although we have ordinances and stuff that say you don't dump stuff down the sewer that you're not supposed to, that's, I believe, you know, why the Kansas statutes are the way they are, because we can't control that. I mean, nobody can, you know, control ultimately what's in there. You know, obviously, if we knew the source of it, we'd go talk to them and try and eliminate it. But so that's part of the reason. As long as you respond appropriately to a backup and don't let it go for a week or something like that, then, and there's no negligence, you know.
Do we put anything about that stuff in the newsletter or anything? You know, reminder of people
You know, I don't know,
that it does cause problems.
yeah, and
Questionable
I think that would be a good thing to talk to Danica about, and that's something that moving forward, hopefully we'll
Put a snippet in.
have an opportunity to put something in. And there's actually a, if you go on Johnson County's website, there's a top 10 list of things that don't put these down the sewer. That's pretty good. I think that'd be a great snippet to put in there. The next map is the valve operations, and so part of what we do with line maintenance, we kind of try and run 2 crews, but they're so small that they have to help each other quite a bit. But the water side of things, one of the things is to get through and open and close all our valves and exercise them. Because if you don't open and close your valves on a regular basis, they don't work when you need them. And they get grit down in where the gate seats, and they get stuck, and it's just, it's good to go out and operate them. And we do have a valve exercising machine on our truck, and so you've seen the big T-handle wrench that folks have to use to turn valves. We do have a machine to help the guys, and it actually is a little bit safe. It's safer for them physically, but it also, the machine, you can adjust the pressure and the torque and the speed of the revolutions, and you can see if it's having problems opening or closing. It doesn't just, you know, it's not like a torque wrench that you don't know what's happening. You have a pretty good idea. And so we also identify issues when we're out there as far as is the valve functioning or is the valve box broken, stuff like that, and try and do repairs as we move along. Back in June, I think we were only about 10% done, and I'm actually shocked by the number. According to our records and maps, we're up to about 44% of the valves being done. And we've had, we were able to fill a vacant position, and then also we have our seasonal help in. So I think between that, we've been able to actually have 2 people working together doing this rather than just one. And then we've also eliminated a lot of work. We talked about the flushing of the system that really wasn't flushing, but they were spending a lot of time doing it. So that's given them more time to focus on this type of task. And we've also had, there's, I believe, 5 water line breaks on there that we show at various locations. One of those was the contractor hit it doing the work up around the lake. So that was one. The others, I believe all the others were just failures due to the pressure, etc. Again, the same thing applies if there's damage from a water line leak to private property. Again, it's the same type of statutes that apply. Unless we're negligent, then we're not liable for the damages. In addition to this work on the map, one of the things that our water line crew does is they go out and do all the taps for new water meters. Back in June when we met, and I'm not sure if I even had time to share it with you, but we had 26 new meters in place at that time that the guys had gone out and done the taps for, and then watched the homeowner's contractor put in the meter pit and setter and all of those things. Now we're up to 59, and so we've seen so far this year 59 new water services. And then in addition to that, the guys also have worked on the South Center Street water project. And so even though it's a private contractor doing the work for us, we still do the tapping of the meters and the lines. And I think there was about 18 of them that were done in. So quite a lot of work that they've done. Some of the other items that they've done is out there around the lake where they're putting in, Johnson County Wastewater, if you don't know, is putting in low-pressure sewer system around the lake to provide wastewater service around the lake. And so we've been out there locating those water lines, which should be an easy task, but I believe those lines were somehow given to the city through a deal with Water District, and there's not tracer wire on them, and so it's pretty difficult to locate them. As we're locating them, we're also recording where they're at, so that next time we can go find them a little easier. But we're actually having, in a lot of cases, to go out and actually use our sewer vector truck to pothole them and dig holes and look for them and pinpoint where they're at. Because Johnson County, you know, in some cases, you know, they just need to know where they are horizontally, but sometimes they need the depth too if they're crossing. So that's all I had on line maintenance. Do you have any questions or concerns?
You know, the old days, they used to stick a probe in the ground to find
Yeah,
out.
you know, I don't know if you guys have met Anthony. He's a big boy that works for us, and he put a probe through one of our lines, so we don't let him do that anymore.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, that is one way to do it, but
That's too big a guy doing it.
yeah. And up there, one of the problems too around the lake is
Hard ground too.
it's hard ground, and they backfilled with big chunks of rock,
Yeah.
so you can't probe through it. Yep.
Well, sounds like you guys made a lot of progress in the last few months.
I believe so too, thank you. And then one other issue on the project updates that, I'll mention real quick is, we are looking at, and then I'll let Gons finish up, we are looking at VFDs for the high service pumps at the water treatment plant as well. We didn't get all of our quotes back that we'd like to have, and so we had to hold off on that portion of the recommendation. But that's something for, basically the exact same reasons that we are working. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll start with the electric distribution. We're still working on the Parma underground project. We've completed, probably say 70%, and the completion target date is December of this year. I know Bruce have more information on Parma if you have any questions on the specifics. Okay. Wastewater, City Council approved the recommendation to, what's the name of the, Logic controls for the SCADA replacement. So we started, we're in the process of getting started this week or next week. We will, hopefully we'll have the new SCADA system in place by early next year. Water Division, Hillsdale got struck by lightning 2 weeks, probably a month ago now, taking the whole SCADA system out of service. So the plant personnel had to operate the water treatment by hand. Most of the damage were on the actual input and output cards and some controllers. John Crivens, he's our electrical engineer. He took a quick look at the design drawings, and there is basically no ground grid, so there's no protection against lightning. We have hired Kiewit to do a preliminary assessment and a recommendation how to fix how to protect the plant from future events in the near future. So we should have that for recommendation within the next month or so.
If it happens once, it's gonna happen again.
It happened before, but this is probably the worst, and the total, we're estimating the total to be close to $20,000 with electronics and everything else. So there's a problem that we need to address. And
That was the water plant?
that's, yeah, Hillsdale. And on the electric generation, like I mentioned earlier, we have Emerson coming in tomorrow to calibrate or to test the generator relay protection for unit number 1. Once that is tested, we should be able to start unit 1 or GT1 or CT1 probably in a week or so to make sure that everything is working properly. And then we'll have another 2 weeks to do the same thing with unit number 2. It's been a long process, and we found a lot of lack of information and drawings not being up to date, which made the actual wiring a little harder than expected. And other business, today we met with, when I said we, it was Larry Powell. He's the Economic Development, Director, and myself, we met with, Dwayne Wood. He's the owner of, Santa Fe Electric. And, he gave us a history of, regarding when he installed his first wind turbine. And at the beginning, there was no interconnection agreement, so it was a very long and drag-out process. And he had two questions. One is that most of the cities around Garner, the interconnection agreement fee is $50 or $100, and ours is $200. And I explained to him that used to be $1,000, and last year we lowered to $200. So he wanted to know if we can be more in line with the other cities around Garner. That was one question. His other question was net metering. Right now, any generation that is produced by the homeowner, they get a credit, and what they get paid is the avoided cost, 150% avoided cost, which is the electric that we would purchase if we have to supply the energy. So he wanted to know if we can do net metering, which means that we will not pay the 150% of the avoided cost, but actually our rate. Right now, the avoided cost is 6 cents, and if you go to the actual rate, will be close to 10 cents. So it's something that, I don't know if you can give us some guidance, or what's your experience, why did we went...
KMU's done a lot of research on that, Gone, so I would follow up with,
What was that, excuse me?
KMU.
Okay.
And they did a whole thing on that, so they already got the statistics and everything done on that. I'll call Hanson on that.
Okay.
I would think you'd understand you're generating, these families selling that to make money. Otherwise, it seems to be, if we were to pay them what we charge everybody,
There's state laws,
benefit us at all.
there's state laws on that too, so you
Yeah.
get a lot of resources.
As far as municipalities, we are committed to...
I understand, but you got a guidance that
Okay.
got good reasoning there. So, there's been a lot of research and work on that. So talk to Colin Hanson, so.
Okay, I'll do that.
I wouldn't mind dropping the fee, down to whatever it costs us to actually do the, if there's a cost to us for interconnect, then,
But I think,
whatever that is.
just by dropping a fee, you're gonna have cause and understanding what that costs are, your avoided costs. And that's
Yeah,
been
that's what
done.
I'm saying.
When
That's already been done. Colin's got that study, so.
When we
Okay.
changed that fee, I don't remember all the specifics of that discussion, but I remember we thought 1,000 was unnecessary, and 200 was more in line, but I wanna say that something cost 150.
Right now, it's $250 is a non-refundable fee,
Okay.
and then once as we get the go-ahead to install the meter, they have to pay the 150.
Okay.
Cause there's even limitations on how much renewables they can even put on their system, so technically there shouldn't be any
Okay.
pushback. There's a lot of work done on that.
I
I'll do
agree,
my-
it's something to look into, because more and more of the panels are getting cheaper, and some of these companies starting to come up with home generation systems and the roofing systems, that it's probably gonna become more and more commonplace going forward. People are gonna be basically generating their own energy off the solars.
Right now, we have 2 solar and the 2 wind turbines. There's a third solar being installed right now on our home. But it seems like we don't have enough, I guess.
Well, we can get some more information, and then, since we just addressed that fee in the last year, without some additional information, don't anticipate us revisiting it, immediately. But we can always discuss it. If something, if something in the information from KMU points to a reason that it's you know, why the other cities might be charging what they're charging. And maybe we could reach out to them and just ask them why their fee is $50 or $100. And between their input and what we know things cost, we can review that accordingly.
Okay, so I'll get information from KMU. And that's all I have for other business. Oh yeah, we just, put together a RFP for a computerized management maintenance system.
Yeah, we need that.
So that's, that was put in the web today, so we give them 2 weeks to respond.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll have something to present to the commission next month or the following month.
That'd be great to
Yeah.
have so that we can, it'll help out come audit time.
And this will be for the whole utilities, not only electric.
They'll run reports, no statistics.
Yep.
Yeah. Any other questions, Commissioner?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
You got?
Motion Boyd, second Waldman, all in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
No, there's a lot of work done on that, we don't have to reinvent that wheel.
Well, since we just talked about it, I didn't remember all the specifics of why we settled on 200, but I remember that it was, we didn't feel like 1,000 was reasonable, but
Well, I'm talking about,
200 did.
but I'm more concerned about selling electricity back. That's,
Yeah, I mean, well,
it's,
if everybody generated their own, and we bought it all at 10 cents, there would be no money for the expense, that's why.
you gotta pay for the the distribution line.
Yeah,
That's
so
gotta be in
you
place.
can't, get it at the cost, that's
Yep.
back,
Well,
same cost.
since our kilowatt hour includes the delivery transmission
Right.
type fee, it's not separate like Kansas Gas that says, here's $20 just to have them.
Yep. No, they've done extensive work on
Well,
that.
I mean, I understand the whole 150% off the
This
cost,
is
I mean, that makes
for
a little bit more sense.
the track design
Yeah.
contract.